Assalamualaikum warahmatullah and very good afternoon. Selamat petang. Um, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inshallah, first of all, I would like to thank again Dr. Shazirawati for her willingness to be the moderator for this session. Also, I'd like to thank Free Committee from JSM for inviting me for this session, especially Associate Professor Dr. Norma alias over the great discussion and her opinions on the title for this session. Okay. Looking at the topic that I want to share, engaging students online learning through ungraded formative assessment. I don't claim to be an expert in assessment per se, especially on this formative assessment. But what I want to do in this session is to share with you all my experience on how I try to engage students learning through assessment which is not graded, and that because the assessment is done during the online teaching and learning, or now we use learning and teaching session, then it is formative assessment, and it is not graded. So we have ungraded formative assessment. Okay. It is a usual practice for me in my class. I always start with learning objective. So for this one, for this session, I also outline the session outcomes. Hopefully, it will give you some ideas what topics or what points that I want to highlight in this session. Okay, so hopefully at the end of this sharing session, you should have an idea about formative versus summative assessments. I believe all of you are familiar with assessments, especially summative assessment, and not forgetting the formative assessment. And I believe every one of us have done these assessments, whether you realize it or not, especially on the formative assessment. Next, why ungraded formative assessment during MCO, especially? And as we know, we have no choice during this MCO. We have to do it online. So to engage students during online learning activities is very challenging for me. So then that will answer why ungraded formative assessment during MCO. What are the tools that I have used for this ungraded formative assessment? So I will share that, so you will have some idea about the tools that I have used. Some challenges that I face during this online learning and teaching, especially when relate to this ungraded formative assessment, and maybe suggestions for future and very near future L&T activities in relation to this ungraded formative assessment. Well, let's look at the first outcome, or the first item that I want to share, formative versus summative. And if you Google, or if you use any search engine on formative and summative, you have like hundreds of thousands of entries on this assessment. And this morning, I found this 570,000 entries on this formative and and summative assessments. So a huge number that we can actually browse through what formative and summative assessments are. And I want to highlight here the formative assessment, as I mentioned just now, it is done during the learning process, and I believe during the class it can be done. It should be done. Uh, and then a clear difference between formative and summative lies in the nature and frequency of its occurrence. I would say formative assessment is much more flexible, more dynamic, I believe, and then the frequency can be, it can be as frequent as you want. So you are the instructor of the class. You know your students. You know how they perform. You know what kind of formative assessment you want to do, and how frequent you want to apply this formative assessment in your classes. Uh, so formative assessment can be done formally. I believe this referred to uh, formal design of the assessment, and then or it can be done informally, uh, and it can be either graded or ungraded. So here from this search engine, you can see that formative assessment can sort of help to improve student attainment of the course learning objectives. So I have this. I want to share this from pedia.com. Difference between summative and formative assessments. And if you look at the formative assessments, again occur during the learning activity, and it's aimed to monitor student learning. So I believe we need to be like taking care of this kind of assessment, and I believe we can try to apply the formative assessment techniques to because the aim here is to monitor student learning. So it may not be graded. Okay. Well, if you want to grade them, yes, you can. But in this session, I focus on non-graded formative assessment, so that students do not feel pressured. They don't feel too much pressure on them. They can do it as how to say up to their uh, up to their how to say readiness. Yeah, readiness. They can do wrong. They can get full mark. They can get zero. Up to them. But it is for them to not only us to monitor their learning, but the students themselves can also monitor their own learning. So it's like empowering their own learning, not just a matter of engage in the uh, learning and teaching activities, but also they own their own learning activities or learning process. For summative assessment, obviously we always do this for final exam, for example, uh, with a specific standard. This is to evaluate instead of to monitor. So evaluate the student learning. So when we do formative assessment, of course, we need to provide students with feedback. I just wonder whether if we do test one and then we return the scripts like 1 month later, then where is the feedback? Is it formative enough? If we do assignment, for example, if we claim that as formative, and then we don't give them feedback, is that formative enough? So the question need to be addressed again if you want to classify test, quiz, and assignment as formative. And for another difference between formative and summative is that for formative it may occur several times, so we can do it anytime using any range of question formats, and it is very flexible up to us. Yeah, so hopefully by applying the methods of formative assessment, then hopefully it can boost students' engagement in our class, although we do it online, and hopefully it motivates students to learn more of the course or subject materials that we deliver. Okay, so from Steve Wheeler's blog, yeah, formative versus summative. So formative is like when the chef tastes the soup. So I believe you can interpret, when you are the chef, when you taste the soup, is it salty? Is it okay? Is it delicious enough? So you have the time to correct. You have the time to modify, the taste of the soup. So that is formative. You give the chance to students to correct themselves, to evaluate their own performance before it comes to summative assessment, when they will be graded, they will be evaluated, they will be judged in terms of their performance for the course. So the summative assessment is when the guest tastes the soup. So just imagine when your soup arrive at the guest. That's it. Yeah. Is it delicious? Is it, otherwise? So that's it. So people will judge you. Are you a good chef or not? Yeah. So there you are. So back to formative assessment again. Formative assessment is assessment for learning, whereas summative is assessment of learning. Right? So we need to, for me, I believe that formative assessment need to be done during our course delivery, during the class activities, not simply lecture and lecture and lecture. Actually, active learning is also part of some formative assessment, whether it is formal or informal. I believe most of it is informal formative assessment. So let's pause a while. Okay, let's look at this question. How many categories of students do you have? So maybe you can answer in the chat room. So any answer? How many categories of students do you have? You can answer in the chat room, or you can just voice out. In terms of anything, in terms of up to you, how to you categorize the students. Maybe in terms of their thinking level, or in terms of their um, how achievement. So up to you. How do you categorize? How many categories of students do you have? Okay, foreign and local. What about their thinking level? So maybe the okay, Dr. Farhana have a interesting idea. Uh, she has two categories, nak belajar and tak berminat. Okay, good. Maybe I don't design my question good enough. So all right, Dr. Nurul Aini, two categories: high achiever and low achiever. Good. So in my opinion, by the way, thank you very much for the response from Dr. Farhana, Dr. Shazira, and Dr. Nurul Aini. Thank you very much. Dr. Fuada, high, middle, and low. Very good. Okay, so let's look at how my answer will be. So this is like a very subjective, right? So for me, there are four categories. Okay, what are the four categories? Students who know what they know. That is category 1. Category 2, students who know what they do not know. Still better, isn't it? They know what they do not know, so they tend to ask questions. You need to be careful here. You need to be like very prepared how to answer questions from this category of students. What about category 3? Students who do not know what they know. So what do you think? We deliver as much, but still you don't know what they have got throughout the course. Yeah. And category 4, students who do not know what they do not know. So this is even not to say worse, but not better than the other, isn't it? Okay. So looking at these categories of students, then I wish or I hope to push the students in category 4 a little bit better in different category. Okay, at least they should be in like category 2. So for category 3 and category 4, I try to push them to category 2, if not category 1. So from category 2, they can be upgraded to category 1. So in that case, I believe formative assessment can help me to help the students into those categories. So then this is the reason why ungraded formative assessment and during MCO. It's not to say that those 4 categories of students cannot be pushed during face-to-face, not only online, isn't it? But especially ungraded formative assessment that I did in the last semester. In fact, I used this ungraded formative assessment first time in the last semester. Although I think many active learning activities are actually or can be classified as formative, whether it is informal or just like by feel, by feel, where which students who need more attention and so on. So I purposely use ungraded assessment, ungraded quiz, so that students feel that they are going to be assessed, they are going to be having some marks, although they are not graded. Yeah, when I say not graded or ungraded means I don't count that grades into the course marks, course marks at the end of the semester. So why did I do that? Of course, to monitor students' learning progress remotely, pressure-free. I say, okay, I'm going to assess you through quiz. And students will ask, is it graded, madam? Of course, it's not. graded. So okay, so they feel relief. Yeah, they feel relief, and then they feel like it's okay. No matter how much they prepare, it's okay. Just attempt the quiz and see how they will be given feedbacks later. To get students engaged in their learning activities, when I did my class, I use WhatsApp. Yeah, I use WhatsApp at first, um, because of internet connection one, and then not only myself but also my students have this. Some of my students have this problem with internet connection, uh, and then so when I ask in WhatsApp, do you have any questions? The same students, the same names appear and responded to my question. What about the rest? I don't see them. I have like 3 sections, each of them like more than 50 students. Altogether, I have like 231 students in 3 sections. Luckily, I have only one course, yeah, one course, but 3 sections. Still, I have to attend to all the 9 hours, um, so called face to not face to face. So 9 hours learning activities should be with me. Uh, it means, um, uh, when I say with me, means they have to like get connected somehow. So the easiest way is like WhatsApp at first. So from there, and I remembered last time I had this course by UTM on assessment. So I said, well, why not I do this formative assessment, make it bold, make it explicit. I'm going to assess the students so that the students know they are going to be assessed, they're going to be monitored seriously. Okay, so uh, then they start to involve. Yeah, although they don't directly respond in WhatsApp, but they did respond in my uh, formative assessment tools that I use. I will share with you later. So yeah, learning process happened. Learning process um, occurred during the MCO, and I can monitor them. Actually, using a specific tool, you can actually monitor each and every student in the class, although the class is like big. So to give the students a chance to taste their soup before serving their guests. So it's very, for me, it's unfair. Yeah, it's unfair to evaluate students, to grade them before giving them the chance to prove to themselves that they do the learning, they get the learning objective, and so on. Yeah, many activities. I believe everyone have done the active learning approaches, think by share. Um, uh, uh, Either you do it, you have like tools, yeah, tools to do all these activities, and maybe you don't use the formative word there, but yeah, we give students a chance to correct themselves, to get the correct ideas about the course, the materials, before they're actually evaluated at the end of the course. All right. And as I mentioned earlier, to push students to a better category, at least to category 2, if not category 1, where students know what they know. So tools for ungraded formative assessment that I have used, actually many tools, and you may be familiar with the tools already, yeah, but I use quizzes, Google Forms, Mentimeter, and e-learning. Okay, but the way I use it, I I will develop or I will design quiz questions. Normally, the quiz questions or the assessment questions are at the lots, considered as lots, low order uh, thinking skill questions, low order thinking skill questions. Maybe for the cognitive level, it could be like level 1 or level 2. Yeah, knowledge, understanding, just to make sure that they really know the basic, the foundation. I believe the students need to be very firm at the root of the course, okay, before they um, they go into depth on the course, right? Okay, so mottos, you can look at this website, 75 digital tools, yeah, to support formative assessment. Okay, so the quizzes, there's a blog, yeah, and I think other great speakers have already talked about this approach. Very simple, interesting, yeah. But yeah, what do I have here? Yeah, you can do some analytics on the performance of the students. Okay, for this question, for example, on single parameter testing, I have only 34 players. Yeah, 34 players. So this is a bit disadvantage for me because when students join quizzes, they tend to use their nicknames, yeah, nicknames or other names that I'm not familiar with. So I always advise them to use their at least their surnames, okay, so that I can trace them, who they are that join these quizzes. Again, so I will, why is it 34? Why is it not 53 or 60? Okay, so from here, we can actually give feedback to the students how each question is performed, yeah, and why is it incorrectly answered, for example. So give feedback because really formative assessments, we really need to give them feedback, if possible, immediately after they attempted the questions, yeah. Um, and then uh, we can always, announce who got full mark and so on. They like to be, praised. You can, like PM Dr. Hayat yesterday, give them apple. So I like that. Yeah. So, but again, these are uh, the same names who got and who got top 10. Okay, so we know who's at the bottom, for example, and which of the questions that they attempted most wrongly, and so on. So give them feedback. Next, Google Forms. Yeah, Google Forms is an alternative to provide the assessment. So here I explicitly tell student, okay, um, you're going to have this ungraded quiz, but please do this question first. In the tutorial, in the supplementary questions, we do have quite uh, complicated questions, but we can actually take 1 or 2 questions, and then from there we build up more questions, simple questions first, uh, to just identify whether they really read the basic idea, the root, uh, how to say, how to tackle the question, how to tackle the question. So sometimes, like the category just now, right? They don't know what they know, so So again, these kind of questions can help clarify, can help identify their weaknesses. Okay, and yeah, we have some analysis there, and then obviously uh, this is common for me, in my experience. When I do it at 8 in the morning, this is what happened. Okay, only um, 16 respondents. So I give them yeah, for these 20 minutes. Still, I announce the top scorers, but give them more time for others lah, who didn't manage to get on time. So more participants, yeah, more time, more participants, and feedback. So the feedback, I will get back to WhatsApp and share with them voice message, and yeah, in my sections, and they have this varieties of approaches like quizzes, and then they have Google Form. They sort of have a like breakout session. They are not facing me online, face to face online. How to say? Meaning I let them be on their own, do the exercise questions, do the quiz. So the learning process is happening. The learning process is happening, and then they come back. Uh, and then when I give them feedback, then they start to, oh, that's why I got this wrong. That's why. So they learn uh what they should learn. Yeah. I don't share the Mentimeter because most of the time for the Mentimeter I always ask feedback on the spot, not quiz questions. So I don't share the Mentimeter, but in e-learning, yeah, most frequent tool that I use to do this ungraded formative assessment is through e-learning. Yeah, so I give them some description in the e-learning, for example. Uh, so I said, okay, you're going to have a quiz which is ungraded based on which chapter. The time limit is only 20 minutes. Yeah. It's too long, isn't it? But it's up to you. It's up to you. If you want to make it like 10 minutes in the first 30 minutes of your session with your with your students, that's fine. It's up to you. Yeah. And then some analysis. Yeah, we see overall performance of the students on that questions. And then I like e-learning more because I can see the names. Yeah, I can see the names who got full mark, who got all wrong, why they get wrong, and then at times I do call them, what happened to you. Yeah. So I seriously do this to some of the students, and yeah, so I really want them to be serious in their learning process. Okay, this is for themselves actually, not for me. Of course, yeah, congrats the top scorers, and then give feedback on the questions, on the answers, and so on. Okay. Sometimes the feedback I record, yeah, in YouTube. In fact, as I mentioned just now, I had 3 sections. So basically, the tutorial questions, the supplementary questions are all the same, but I need to see every section to give them feedback. So in this case, sometimes for this particular chapter, I did record, so I share with all the 3 sections. But of course, I explain again, yeah, uh, in case they miss out some points. So these are response from some students. Okay, so the some of them really like it. Yeah, really like it, and they show that it says, "Thank you, madam. You don't have to do this, but you did. Okay, I hope. Okay, I only hope we make it worth your effort." As if like they want to please me. Well, that's not supposed to be right, but then again, because you do these activities for us, I will do them to constantly better myself. See, the impact of these activities, the feedback, they really value it, and they feel like it is an their responsibility to learn, to own their learning. Yeah, if it wasn't for this, I think I would have failed. This is from one of the students. What are the challenges that I faced? Well, time consuming. Yeah, I had to prepare videos for my course materials. Yeah, because I want them to really follow the course. And then that is already taking much time because the okay the area maybe don't like videos, right? But then I for the videos that I uh, prepared, I need to do the script first, just to make sure that the video, the you know the delivery, the content delivery is smooth. So I need to prepare the script first. So in terms of video, for the course material, is time consuming, and it adds up to so this formative assessment thing also, yeah, takes a little bit time, because you have to design the question, you have to think of what kind of question you want to pose to the students, and yeah, a bit time consuming to prepare and to monitor everyone. Of course, when you talk about 20 students in your class, that's fine. You can monitor each and every one of them. You know their names. You get close to them. But then when you talk about 231 students, oh dear, it's really time consuming. Non-respondents, as you have seen before, right? Um, I've got 34 players. I've got 30 um, students who responded to my ungraded quiz. What about the rest? Okay, so this is one of the challenges that I face. So I need to. Luckily, we have like e-learning, so we know who didn't answer the question, so we can do something about it, right? Um, Call them, ask them, but it really needs your passion, yeah, to deal with this. Documentation. Uh, yeah, this is a challenge for me. As time goes by, we are catching up with time. We can do this, we can prepare this and that, but how do I document all this process? Especially if you think about, if you have some ideas about new innovation in your uh, learning and teaching activities, you may want to join Nali competition. So they look for the proper documentation of the activities. So this is really a challenge. Um, yeah, it can be done through proper um, a proper way of doing it uh, with dedication. Of course, you can document. Yeah? You can document all these activities, even in a test. Test. You need to document these activities. So, a suggestion for future, near future LNT: better question designs. most of my questions, because I want just to get them engaged in the session. So I most of the questions are what is, how many, not why. Yeah, that's a lot. Low order thinking skill questions. But you may want to design questions, hot questions, higher order thinking skill. Maybe not only individually, you can group your students uh, to be assessed, but again not graded. I think the students will be willing to do that so that they can monitor their own learning, inshallah. Better monitoring approach. Okay, yeah. Although it takes time, but we have to do it for for the students. Yeah, for the students. Uh, I'm not sure whether I am correct or not. I always say to my students, no matter how much effort we put uh, to deliver the content, if the students don't, if the students don't want to involve in the learning process, then I'm not sure whether they will be successful uh, in that matter. Yeah. Uh, but again, yeah, I need to I need to look into how to cater for this non-respondents in a better way. Diversify. Yeah. So I'm telling myself again, okay, diversify. Be more flexible in the approach. Uh, need to think more innovative and creative way of handling the students' activities in class. Time management, yes, time management. That is another suggestions. How to make more proper management of time, especially although we are going to do online, but we are here, eh? In UTM, so we have many other tasks to do. So I need to make sure to manage my time properly. Okay, especially for the next semester, I will be like teaching two courses. So the time is really crucial there. And of course, stay passionate. Stay passionate. That will be very strong keyword to get going. I believe to get going with teaching. We don't just let students be on their own. I mean, yeah, they should own their learning. They should be responsible on their learning, but we need to guide them. We need to, to provide opportunities for them to do the learning. So we need to be like, I am telling myself, stay passionate, Zarina, please. And I'm very sure you have more suggestions, more better suggestions that you want to share with me later. So I guess that's it for my session. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy your teaching in the next semester. So anywhere, anytime. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Questions from the chat room from Dr. Arifa. Is it necessary for this ungraded formative assessment to be as objective as in CLO? In other words, the questions asked more or less like test questions. Can we assess them via their reflections?
Well, Associated Professor Dr. Arifa, thank you very much for the question. Yeah, I believe for the formative assessment, it's very flexible. Right? you can ask any question, whether very simple question or the question like the test question, but and then from the reflection as well, uh, we can actually improve or um, how to say modify or make better our real questions or in the summative assessment. Okay, so I think it's up to you actually. It's up to you how to do uh, the formative assessment. For me, I start with very light question and then drive the question towards more challenging questions. That's why I said just now from lots to hots from the cognitive level one, and we can move up and then try to tailor with the CLO that we already prepared in CI. So I think that will be more meaningful to students and tailor to their learning objectives. Yeah.
I'd like to share the short speech by our director.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Terima kasih diucapkan pada ceramah yang sebentar tadi kerana telah berjaya memberikan satu perkongsian yang baik bagaimana melaksanakan pembelajaran dan pengajaran secara online. Jadi saya dengan ini selaku pengarah Jabatan Sains Matematik ingin menyerahkan e-certificate sebagai tanda penghargaan terhadap perkongsian yang telah diberikan tadi. Terima kasih.
Okay, certificate ya. Alright. So, again, thank you everyone. Ya, terima kasih kerana join.